Good evening, viewers. Humphrey B. Flabert of TISM.
Ron Hitler Barassi from TISM, and here we are, TISM doing something on DVD. The only reason that we're putting all this rot on is because it's a done thing these days. I mean, so what? You can fit 4.5 gigabyte on a DVD. What people don't understand is you don't have to. It's not compulsory. It doesn't make it better, but everyone's doing it, so we better do it, Humphrey, I think.
I mean, are you really, do you really give a rat's ass about where TISM came from and people associated with TISM? Do you expect us to, go out on location and film shots of us standing in front of the house we grew up in and all that sort of complete bullshit?
Might as well get Fassbinder interviewing Jean Genet about Klaus Kinski's ball bag.
If you find on this DVD anywhere shots of us talking to people associated with our past and walking around on location, I want you to take it back and demand a refund. Of course, here we are at this very well appointed athletics reserve, and there is the Duncan McKinnon Hall.
Duncan McKinnon.
Which was the home of TISM's very first gig, which I do recall was quite an abject failure.
It was, of course, our first and last gig too, Humphrey. Every gig since then has been a reunion gig. I think the fans who legitimately call themselves TISM fans are aware of that.
Yes.
So this has been the only venue TISM has ever played at in its whole career, taking away the reunion venues, which is every subsequent venue.
Well, that's right, and I think it's certainly, look at it, it's just so healthy looking.
Yes.
Everything about it speaks of health, which I think has been, a little appreciated aspect of the TISM canon.
This is our Arden Street, is it not, Humphrey? This is our Brunswick Oval.
Yes.
This is our before the Saints went to Moorabbin, this is our Fitzroy Street Oval. This is the home ground of TISM. If we could just get these boys here, this is... Jeremy, I wonder if we can just swing around whilst we're on here and just get those fellas there. Here we are. This is actually, in fact, the real members of TISM we've put behind us here in the shot. They are the most intelligent members of TISM. Note that sort of look, that's their original. They're young, they're enthusiastic, they're driving a P-plate car. If we just keep the camera on them when the lights change, hopefully we'll see them having a crash. I think they're drunk. If you guys, if Ron and Humphrey could just crash that car, wankers! Wankers!
Now, we're standing here, of course, on the corner of Heatherton Road and Springvale Road. Springvale Road is I think, the most busy road in the entire southern hemisphere, and that I think is that's the sort of place where art always develops. I think you find that busy roads are at the core of. Mick Jagger grew up near a very, very busy road.
No,
and
you're more arty sort of artist. They're nowhere near a three-lane expressway and carriageway.
No.
I mean, it's your three-lane carriageway that's the minimum requirement for your true rock and roll artist, I think. And here
art is, of course, short for arterial, as you know. And there is, of course, a reference to this in one of our early songs where we make the claim that I did a great left-hand turn at Heatherton Road. I'd like to point out that was a lie. None of us ever had the guts to do a great left-hand turn at Heatherton Road. We found this intersection so intimidating as young P-plate drivers that we always drove straight through it.
The tram stop is only a quick 25k from here, and this is the sort of desert-like cultural wasteland that we grew up in. It was a tramless wasteland. I think also, Jeremy, we should note out there are no lesbians around here. There's no dance troupes. There's no creative artists. Very much there's no creative artists.
No, clearly.
This is the sort of world we grew up in.
Ron, I recall one particular evening, absolutely enshrined in my memory, of us running from the door of the dressing room at the very salubrious Barwon Club Hotel in Geelong.
Oh yes, I know.
Outside the building, along the footpath to the sort of cistern-like stage door.
So that's right. The viewers would have to understand to get from the stage to the stage door to the dressing room, you had to actually go out onto Geelong Road on the footpath.
And we were running in single, in Indian file, as we were very, very expertly drilled to do in those days. And one of the locals happened to be walking along in the opposite direction, and had a crack at me. Lifted the elbow, much in a sort of Dipia Domenico style.
Yes.
I managed to avoid serious injury, and my lasting memory of that moment was the sound of knuckle, flesh, and sluicing blood as that local of Geelong encountered the man we refer to as Jan.
Jan Wildebeest.
Jan Wildebeest.
Viewers, Jan Wildebeest and Andy South, the next two people you're going to see on your screen, have got the crabs.
Geez, it's a real pain in the ass, working for a band like TISM. I mean, they're a great band and everything else, but on top of the,
There's all the normal equipment.
all the normal equipment, the setting up for the show, the dealing with the actors and everything else, but there's just always that something over the top with TISM.
Oh, those stupid ideas they have and drag along.
They've always got some sort of concept, some sort of plan, some sort of... there's, the leaf blowers.
Oh, with the tinsel wrapped around the motors.
Yeah, but the tinsel...
And the fumes, that was a good one. Yeah.
that didn't go anywhere.
What about that clothesline we tried to fly around Australia?
Yeah, that's right.
That was good fun.
That's still in my garage, in fact.
Pub car parks, I think, are a big influence on our work. We are here in the Walsing Matilda Pub Car Park. It's been seminally important, with the emphasis on the word seminal, in the development of This Is Serious, man.
Well, I think that's right, Ron. You cannot underestimate the cultural significance of a head hitting the asphalt of a car park at high velocity.
So I never hurt anyone.
No. And, being part of that sort of environment, I think, enriches your art. Yeah. And this, of course, the Walsing Matilda is, surely one of the cultural hubs of Melbourne.
Yes.
I mean, merely the fact that it's open till 5 a.m. shows you that the people of Springvale were, they're very much of the night owl category, smoky jazz vibe.
Yes. There's a lot of beat poetry, I think, happens at about 4:59 a.m. here. It's mainly the sound of skull beating against asphalt.
There were many salminios walking around at the Walsing Matilda, outside in the car park during the formative years of TISM, enacting their own particular stream of consciousness.
Exactly.
On the corpus callosum of their unsuspecting victim.
You can now order a salminio in the salad bar there at the Family Bistro.
That's right.
As the salminio and the Kerouac with chips. The Ginsberg light bitter I would recommend here at the Wally Mat. If any of the viewers of this DVD wish to come down here, just mention the DVD. You won't get a cheap meal, but you will get a free skull fracture, not a fracture.
No, a fracture is actually, that's how it's pronounced out here in Springvale.
And only after you get one. Of course, Humphrey, we've never been here, have we?
No.
Humphrey, there's a lot of drivel being talked today. A lot of drivel. I know Jeremy behind the camera is getting a bit annoyed. He's gone out, he's gone up to Billy Guy's, he's bought a couple of mini DVs, that's $8.95 out of his own pocket. Yeah. We're wasting it. He's a good man.
Up, doesn't it? Really?
It all adds up, and he's there and he's whining that we're dribbling on. So what do we say about the most beautiful economist in the world, who is the master of dribble, I think? Like, he's able to give that economic dribble at such a rate and with such rapid fire rapidity, as opposed to slow speed rapidity.
Yes.
That makes one think, no wonder he was associated with TISM.
Yes, I think the the idea of seeing TISM through purely economic terms is a total furphy, because we're the band that everybody loves, but no one will buy their records.
That's right. There must be an economic. It's the
Yes, there must
law
be
of diminishing returns.
Well, I think that's right.
No
you know.
return.
It would be very interesting.
I think we're
in
dribbling.
In
That's
a
it.
hauntingly uninteresting way, to hear his view on that.
The most beautiful economist in the world.
Oh, look, if you put them in terms of the market that they operate, I mean, clearly they're what we'd call a dog stock. Basically, you've wanted to be a seller of them for a lot of years. There's been a few low tracking error funds that have had to hold them, but I mean, it's cost them money quarter in, quarter out. They had a great 2-quarter performance about the time they produced Machiavelli in the Four Seasons, but really it's been dud products ever since. And you've wanted to be well away from this stock. It really, frankly, stinks. They're still clearly a sell.
Well, Ron, this of course, this moment is sending a chill up my spine, because we're here at View Road, Springvale, where I grew up, and you'll notice that they've got the crack house bars on the outside of it now, but in fact it was a very lovely place, and it was the place where we wrote our first song. I can't think of any other real significance other than just you know, the whole kind of cinema verite aspect of this DVD. Hopefully we'll get played at Cannes.
We could get played at Cannes, not Cannes in France, more Cannes the Tigers.
Yes.
What Dublin, I think, was to Joyce, what the Mississippi was to Twain, what Glen Archer's toilet was to Wayne Carey, I think this is to TISM.
The debating,
Pig on the spit.
the couples kissing on stage.
Well, this of course is the Sandown Park Greyhound track, where I worked for 9 years, and my specific role at this place was to pick up the dog shit with a very, very ergonomically designed shovel. And I think that's a very, very, that's a poignant image which runs through most of our work. You know, TISM is the ergonomically designed shovel collecting the dog shit of rock.
That's right. I mean, I think racing is the sport of kings. And we're talking Jet, of course, would be a racehorse.
Oh,
don't
absolutely,
you feel?
yes.
You know,
yes.
and then we have the great ennobling team sports like cricket and football, and we have equivalent bands there. I think Powderfinger would be more your cricket team with their
creams. They'd be wearing creams.
They would
I
be
think,
wearing
yes.
creams,
Yeah.
you know. And of course, there are great bands that encapsulate the male bonding of football. We've got Hunters and Collectors and the whole post-punk. We have those little boys with
Bronski
spiky
beat.
hair, that sort of thing. Humphrey, Will and the Wrecker is a completely fictional character.
Yes.
And we're about to have an interview with Whelan, who, in his fictitious way, appeared with us during our very early phase, I remember.
Yes, during the seminal early period of our reunion tour, and you may in fact notice Will and the Wrecker's presence in some of the archival footage, a fleeting presence involved in the art of blowing up balloons and handing them to the audience, giving out fairy floss and so forth, but entirely fictitious. A cipher.
A Zephyr.
Well, the audiences at TISM gigs very early on, in fact, the people that revolted them was unfortunately the core of their audience, which became a bit of a problem because they wanted names on doors, everything, as you could imagine, because they had the hair, clothes, purple hair, green hair. But the saving grace in that, as soon as most of those arty, pretentious rock types, names on door types, once they got wind of actually what TISM were doing, they couldn't get out in the car park quick enough to get in their Volvos and scoot off back to Brunswick and stuff. So that left the door wide open for all the knobs from Frankston, Glen Waverley, Springvale, which was good because they didn't care what they paid. They bought the merchandise, beat up each other in the car park. They basically were for a good time. It was like a suburb comes to the city type affair. It was great for the band, and they've been living off it ever since.
Motor mowers.
The fake opera audience.
Fake telethon.
TISM have held up a mirror to the Australian music industry, and I think it's been good for music in this country. They've got a lot of fans. I mean, they've got fans in other sort of poppy alternative bands, or alternative's not really the word anymore to use for these guys because they're about as commercial as you get. But like Frenzal Rhomb, Jebediah, bands like that are professed fans of TISM. Grinspoon, I think, are fans of TISM as well. There are a lot of bands that hate TISM. The guy from Not From There had some really nasty things to say about TISM, if I remember correctly. And obviously a lot of radio stations hate them, a lot of journalists can't stand them, and it's probably because This Is Serious Mum makes them look like dickheads.
Now, roughly about here was the home of a girl called Sandra Smallman. Now I say roughly about here on Princess Highway, Springvale, because I never actually went to her house. I bicycled past in abject loneliness a few times, and I wasn't exactly sure which one it was. Now, the point, of course, of me referring to this is because Sandra Smallman was the first girl who ever rejected me. And Sandra, if you're out there watching, I'd like to personally thank you, because that set a course of events in place, which led to me standing stupidly here today in this ridiculous costume. Because without rejection, I think I would have had a very happy and successful life. Sandra, of course, at the time, I nearly managed to plant a kiss on her in the slow dance at the Springvale Youth Club that night, but she pulled back at the last second and said to me, "Humphrey, I want you to form an ill-conceived rock band, combining elements of techno and garage punk, which will ultimately lead you nowhere."
Sandra, of course, still lives here. She's
Yes.
115 stone, and she does wash herself with a rag on a stick.
The two TISM bands playing at once.
Oh, the goat.
What we're entering in here is the suburban block with the swimming pool. And I think that signature, the swimming pool, does put a dividing line between the world we've just come out of, the Springvale world, with the racing and the greyhounds and the crack horse, and we're here up to the swimming pool world, which has got your chlorine, your alkali testing, your nice golden retriever dogs, and your crack horse.
Yes. Although a very much more, polite and diffident crack whore.
Well, Humphrey, it's mediocrity, but it's a better class of mediocrity. If I can just get our cameraman to centre in on the neatly stacked hose there, with its Gardenia system all worked out, and the beautifully painted archway, the security alarm. Basically what we're doing here at Wheelers Hill is guarding ourselves against the very sort of people we were filming down at Springvale. We're no better than them. It's all drug money, it's all cocaine money. But it's carefully disguised cocaine money, and that's what makes the difference, I think, Humphrey.
Now, Ron, there is, of course, a legend associated with TISM, and that is the tragic legend of Jean Robigood. Jean Robigood left TISM due to increasing bouts of sanity. That is in fact the rock rumour.
It's rather like the Pink Floyd boy.
Yes, Sid Barrett. We don't really want to speak ill of of genre be good. We would like not to bring shame to his family, but let it just be said that there came a point when we realised that he was actually smart and longed for a life of happiness.
Contentment,
Yeah.
family, kitchens, the whole suburban nightmare. Genre, your nakedness was a big part of your art. We're wondering if you could explain your views about nakedness and its relationship to the TISM corpus.
Yeah, well, Ron, it's got to remember that we're all nude under our clothes.
20 guitarists playing one note.
The guy's hitting golf balls into the crowd.
The problem about Fiscarello, though, the whole thing was director's cut. There was no proper cut. There was no audience cut. What's wrong with an audience cut these days? That's what we need. What about this? This is a whole new radical introduction to French cinema. A bit for the audience, not for the director. Has anyone heard of that? Why can they make a DVD where the edges aren't sharp so it doesn't hurt when you're wiping your ass?
The tricycles.
The white goods instead of amps.
The washing lines full of washing.
The fake encores.
The rubbish bins.
The onstage auction.
The guy's playing cards.